Hello and welcome to New Comic Book Day here at Comic Vantage. Today's date is August 1st, 2018. It's a Wednesday. It's that great day of the week that we all know and love. So, this is the day I go down to my LCS, pick up my books, bring them home, give them a read, give you some reviews. Now, there can and will be spoilers. So if you don't want spoilers, back out now, come back later if you read the books yourself. If not, stick around. Lots of good stuff to show. Anyway, the first book this week is actually a book from last week, but it is new to me because I didn't get a chance to pick it up. And that is the Justice League Dark #1 in this great Greg Capullo semi-virgin cover. Wow, I love this cover. I bought it just for the cover, but I did give it a read, and I enjoyed this book. Apparently what we have going on here is Wonder Woman feels that magic is on the fritz. Little does she realize, Zatanna knows that magic is actually dying. So all the magic users are casting these spells, and they're having incredibly awful experiences with these things. So Wonder Woman is trying to put together a team to investigate. She's trying to get Zatanna and she also, well, we have John Constantine. I don't think he's going to be on the team because he's not on the cover, but he does make an appearance. And we have her meeting up with Detective Chimp. Which is kind of cool. We have this awesome meeting over here of Jason Blood calling together a lot of the people of magic through the DC universe to also try to figure out what's going on. This was a really interesting story. I thoroughly enjoyed this. This wasn't a book I was planning on picking up at all. So I'm excited. We have Man-Bat also joining the team, trying to make amends for all his evil ways. And last but not least, we have Swamp Thing. Like I said, this was a very good read. James Tynion is a great writer. I really enjoy his work. So this was a lot of fun. I'll probably start picking this up just to give it give it a go, see what happens. I've never been a huge DC fan, but a lot of these books lately have really been turning me around, so that's good stuff. Anyway, thumbs up for me this week on that one. Next, we have Project Superpowers. This is an old property, and we have our story here where we have a bunch of superheroes from the 1940s, from like the golden age of superheroes. And they were thrust into our world, and the team's kind of split up. Here is the first one they introduced you to. Masquerade, or Diana Adams. The artwork is really good in this story. I like this a lot. It's really neat. It's a lot of the colors are very soft. Almost as if it was colored pencil. I really don't know what it was done with, but if I had to guess, I mean, that's what it looks like to me, but I guess you can do that with computers as well. So we have our giant catastrophe here where all the planes start falling out of the sky. So our team of these older superheroes, they were supposed to be getting together for dinner, and they end up coming and saving all these planes instead because they were all in the same area. So first we start with Green Llama. We already met Masquerade. The next one we meet is the mighty Samson. The Black Terror, which they kind of make a joke when he introduces himself and everybody thinks it's a terrorist attack that he caused these planes to fall out of the sky, and everybody on the airplane starts freaking out, so that was kind of fun. And we have the Scarab, who uses a power suit, almost like Iron Man. And last but not least, we have the Devil. Although he seems to be a little on the evil side right now, like the devil persona is taking over him. Really good read. I enjoyed this. It's a great jumping off point because you get introduced to all the new characters, or actually all of the characters. It's like a jumping off point. New introduction to these characters. I've never even really read these books before. I've seen them around, but this is totally new to me. Awesome. I liked it. And next up, from the Lion Forge, we have Voltron Legendary Defender. This is issue #1 of Volume 3. And this follows along with the storyline on the cartoon series. If you're watching the cartoon series on Netflix, you kind of know all the backstory. And it does tell you right away it takes place between seasons 4 and 5. I love Voltron. I'm loving the animated series on Netflix. The reboot is really good. It's a whole reimagining. The characters are great, and this book really follows that. You get a lot of the personality of the characters, you get a lot of the great artwork. You have the Voltron team saving a planet, trying to get help from another planet who just completely rejects them, but that's pretty much beside the point. Now, my biggest drawback to this is the writing was actually kind of choppy, where you jumped from page to page and you really had no idea what was going on. It was like, oh, hey, and now we're here. Oh, hey, and now we're doing this. And it totally killed it for me. I was really disappointed because, like I said, it's great artwork. The dialogue is awesome because you can really feel the characters behind the dialogue, but it was just the story and the way it was paced and laid out did absolutely nothing. Like I said, very disappointed. And this is one book I will not be picking up. So that goes on my no stack. Next this week from Marvel Comics was XMen Gold, number 33. This one I really enjoyed. A lot of the X-Men stories, books lately, Gold, Red, and Blue, I've really just been skipping because, wow, they've been really lackluster. I think Red has been the best one of the bunch. Gold here this week was very enjoyable. Of course, each of the books is starting off with, oh no, Kitty Pryde and Colossus didn't get married. And then we venture into Kenya, Africa, where we start getting a very, very good, intimate look at some of Storm's family and her backstory. And we have a death cult that is taking over her old village because she's no longer there. And there's this power vacuum, so she's not being worshipped. And we find out how Stormcaster came back to her, where her adopted mother prays. And Stormcaster hears the call and returns to her. Because Storm had no idea how Stormcaster came back. She thought she had gotten rid of this thing. And it's rejoined her. And then we also have the little backstory that clears up the whole thing with Rachel last issue, where Mesmero had taken over her mind and she tried to kill all of her friends. But the biggest bummer of all this is that she breaks up with Nightcrawler because she feels she can't heal with him there. So that was kind of sad. So now we get back to Storm visiting her old village, her adopted mother's grave, apologizing for never returning. At which point she is then introduced to this new death god that has taken over. She pops up in all of her Asgard glory there. Really, really good story. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the next issue. This book is winding down. We know this is going to be canceled. So it'll be interesting to see how they're going to end it and where it's going to go from here. This was a thumbs up for me this week. And next up from Titan Comics, we have The Raid, issue number 1. Now, this is actually based off of a movie from about 6 or 7 years ago of the same name called The Raid. It was a foreign film, Indonesian, and it was a whole SWAT team. There was like this apartment building that had been taken over by a crime boss, and the SWAT team was sent in to get him out. Really, really cool movie. And seriously, it's got awesome reviews. It was a lot of fun to read. So it tells us here that the text and the dialogue in the series is translated from Indonesian, and it takes place during the events of Raid 2, of which I have not watched yet. Here is our hero, Rama, and it starts off with him in prison. And he is undercover in prison, sort of hiding out. Nobody knows who he is, and we're not exactly sure why he's there, because like I said, I haven't watched Raid 2 yet. And then we have another SWAT team coming in to take this other crime boss prisoner. The movie is ultra violent, so the comic book is also going to be ultra violent. We have lots of bone shattering, lots of blood and people dying. They do this awesome little X-ray thing like they did in Mortal Kombat. So lots of action, lots of excitement. going to be some intrigue thrown in here. What more can you ask for? It's just a really, really cool action comic, and it has a great storyline behind it too. That's what made the first movie so great. It was really good. Anyway, awesome read. Had a lot of fun with that. Next up from DC Comics, Green Lanterns number 52. Really been enjoying this storyline again. Wow, look at this gorgeous cover. Man, look at that. Really been loving these semi-virgin covers they've been doing at DC. Again, we are back in the heat of battle. Where are we going here? Yes, we're back on Penelope's home planet, where his planet is being obliterated by the Ravagers, and 80 or 90% of the population is dead, along with the Penelope's Green Lantern. So we have the entire Corps showing up to help out. We also are getting an insight into this being, and it's inside of the lantern rings. It's also inside the lantern battery. It's corrupting it. So it's sending a lot of misinformation through the lanterns. It's causing them to distrust one another. Really interesting. At the same time, we have John Stewart here, still in really, really poor health. They're trying to figure out how a Guardian has died. Lots of stuff going on. We have another big bad showing up by the name of Aeon, or Eon. He's a being of pure energy. It looks like the lanterns are having a hard time stopping this guy. Of course, the Ravagers in their fleet. We do have Hal Jordan showing up, finally, to help out. So far, this story has been really good. Loving the artwork in this as well. With Green Lantern books, it's really hit or miss. The entire series, up through these 52 issues, it's, you know, you can take some have been really great, some have been really bleh. This is actually really on the good side right here, this entire story arc. It's a lot of fun. I want to see how it ends up. And we got this really cool new big bad, and I want to see what. And now they tease you that you get to finally reveal in the next issue who the enemy is. It's inside the lantern rings and the battery, corrupting everything. So that'd be kind of cool to find out. Anyway, good read this week. Next, from Marvel, we have Death of the Inhumans, number 2. And another one of these great Virgin covers. This is the Young Guns variant, with Vox here on the cover holding Karnak's broken body. And again, at the end of issue number 1, we had Vox killing Maximus and Lockjaw. It's like, woo. They did 2 different covers that had different dead bodies. One had Medusa dead, one had Black Bolt dead, so everybody surmised it might have been one of them 2. And then this came out of nowhere. Lockjaw and Maximus, both killed. So we have the entire Kree population that's left, giving an ultimatum to the Inhumans to rejoin them or die. Because there's an older faction of the Kree that has returned, and they still feel that the Inhumans are their property, their weapons. They were bred for war. So Black Bolt sends Karnak to Hollis under the guise of surrendering. But what he really wants to do is just kind of warn them that he is coming. And he comes through Hollis, and he starts speaking the names of everyone who has died, and completely obliterating the Kree. Look at that, body parts falling apart. We have a dismembered hand here. Just Black Bolt at his finest. And it's funny because they mention here that as stories were told later on down the line that he would be called Black Bolt the Cruel and Black Bolt the Merciless because of what he did here. Just decimating everyone and everything that he saw. Great story. Really good. I'm excited to see, because this Vox character is just so wicked. I love his look. I'm really enjoying his abilities that he has. And I want to find out exactly where this creature came from and what he is and who he is. It's really neat. Love this. Definitely pick it up. And last but not least, from Dark Horse Comics, we have The Seeds. This is a book I had no idea about. I walked in the store and, you know, they was like, hey, have you seen The Seeds? And I'm like, the what? And they're like, here, and they handed it to me. Blown away. Absolutely blown away by this book. This is great. Look at the back. I love the back of this book. They make it look all old and beat up. And like it's supposed to have a price tag on it. This is printed on the book, and this is book 1 of 4. This book is all over the place. So we have this great, almost black and white and green scale artwork, which reminds me a lot of an old Nintendo or Game Boy. Remember the old Nintendo Game Boys had the green screen? That's what this reminds me of. And we start off with people talking. And they're showing a beehive, and I believe he's talking about how his queen bee left him and he has to get a new one. Next page, chapter 1, The Barrier. At the barrier, we have this photojournalist who is taking pictures, and her name is Astra. Now, I'm not sure if this is supposed to be present day or future, but it kind of seems like future, because we have this giant wall that was built. And on one side, you have all these people here who just live here all their happy lives. On the other side of the wall, you have what's called the Luddites, and the Luddites live there with no technology. So this is kind of crazy. So you have Astra here taking pictures of the wall, trying to get stories because she's a photojournalist. Just, you know, it feels almost post-apocalyptic, but I don't think the world is in that bad of shambles in this book to be post-apocalyptic. So like I said, this is book 1, and this is Astra. Next up, we meet Lola. And this gentleman in the gas mask is Race. And this is chapter 2, and they call it Bodies. So you have Lola and Race, and they hooked up for the evening. You know, they kind of dig each other. And she asks if he wants her number, and he's like, no, I have stuff to do, and he wanders off. So you're like, okay, wandering off, no big deal. Chapter 3. We get back to Astra, and Astra is going back, it's called the bullpen. It's going back to her, I'm assuming it's a newspaper, but probably all online, talking to her editor, and editor's like, hey, you got to give me a good story. There are these death clubs in town where you can take this drug that simulates your own death, and she wants a story on these death clubs. And I'm, you know, by this point, I'm completely sucked in, and I'm like, what is, we have death clubs, we have a giant barrier keeping people out, and just all kinds of crazy stuff. And in the next chapter, which is chapter 4, it's called The Break. And here we follow Race back to his little group of people hanging out in this little wasteland area. And he's supposed to be out and about in the world collecting seeds because the people that sent him here know that the human race is dying. And I'm like, okay, so these guys aren't human. So then we get over here and we have Susan and Jack who are tending their bees and talking about how they have a new queen now. And then once we get past that, we're back to Lola. And Lola's hanging out with her friends in a restaurant, and she's talking about Race and how she really likes him. And she wants to see him again, and she hopes he doesn't leave. And then we go back to the club, where Astra is now finally going to the death club. She wants to get the story for her editor. And at this club is Lola and Race. And she happens to take a look at the wrong time. And right here I was like, you've got to be kidding me. totally insane. I loved this book from beginning to end. There was no bad point in it. I had so much fun reading this. And if you can't tell, this is actually my pick of the week right here. This is my story of the week. Absolutely love this thing. Everybody should go and grab this right now. It's crazy. I want to see where this story goes because, wow, it's only going to be 4 issues. Book 1 of 4, so it's not too bad. We got the next 4 months of these coming out. I'm going to definitely add to my poll because I do not want to miss this. All right, so again, this is my story of the week. So let's recap some of the other stuff we got here. We got our Death of the Inhumans #2. Good read. Green Lanterns #52. Another good read. Definitely pick this up. The Raid. If you enjoy the movie and you're just a huge action fan of anything, I would say pick this up. XMen Gold #33. Great Storm story. We don't have enough of those. So yeah, that's a must read too. Voltron Legendary Defender, Volume 3, #1, and this was a meh on my list. This is a no-go. Really disappointed. Project Superpowers #1. If you want to read about some Golden Age superheroes and get some of that feel with a modern story, this is it. And then we have the Justice League Dark #1. Again, this was a book from last week, but it's new to me. I liked it. All right, and last but not least, we have our Seeds #1. Definitely my pick of the week. So this is my story of the week. Now, next up, my cover of the week. Oh, what's my cover of the week? My cover of the week is, haha, Mr. Miracle #10. Look at the, I don't even like this book. I don't read this. I don't like it. But I had to have that cover. Look at that negative dark side. Oh, isn't that amazing? Absolutely. I bought this just for the cover. I mean, look at this. Just for that cover. I won't even read this. No, but look at it. Wow, beautiful. Loved it. That's my cover of the week. So, all right, people. Those are my books. These are my opinions. Your mileage may vary. Like always, I want to thank everyone who watches my videos, who subscribed, who liked, who comments. Keep doing it. I love talking to everyone. I love getting to know all of you. You guys are amazing out there. And if you're new to the channel, hit the little CV right there. Subscribe. It's really painless. Just click it right there. Just do it. Oh, see, I think you did it. All right. And then make sure to hit that bell up there, too. Gives notification, lets you know when I have all the good stuff coming. And I do got some good things planned very soon. Very excited. So, like always, guys, thank you for watching and take it easy.